Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video I will be sharing some tips that I have to hopefully help you guys become more financially independent in the most smart possible way. So this edition or this video is based on my experiences growing up and living in the UK, tips that I've acquired over the last couple of years since I've been a teenager, and ways that I've been able to either save money or become more financially independent. Natasha will be having her video out, which is a US edition, so more specific to growing up in the States. Obviously this is all very general, but will hopefully still be somewhat useful and practical. So the first thing that I want to touch upon is setting up a bank account. So growing up I never knew that you could set up a bank account actually from the age of 11 by yourself. I, growing up, had my parents who had set up a bank account and were therefore like the guardian of my bank account, and so I would deposit money into that account, but I'd always need parental permission to take it out. So it's really useful to know that some banks in the UK offer a bank account which is specifically for 11 to 15-year-olds, and then when you become 16 they upgrade you to a teens bank account. The reason I would suggest getting a bank account at a much younger age rather than waiting till I don't know, you start your first job, or you are in the process of applying to uni and you're waiting to get your student finance loan, which is, I know, a time when a lot of my friends decided to set up their first bank account, is because one, it familiarises you with the banking system. You'll already know from a young age how savings accounts work, what interest rates are, and small things like that that just help ease you in for the add-ons that come with an adult bank account. On top of that, I think it will provide some financial autonomy in being able to physically look after your money yourself, and give you responsibility in terms of saving money and also taking control of your spendings. It can also provide the opportunity for you to become more autonomous if you decide, for example, to take out a monthly phone plan and you have a direct debit coming out of that account. It just begins to teach you more about the banking world, which will be a lot more useful as you grow up. In addition to this, you do get some freebies, which I think is always cool, with some bank accounts. I know when some of my friends were setting up their bank account for going to university, some of them got deals such as like a free toastie, Amazon voucher, Amazon Prime off for a year, discounts on driving lessons. So definitely shop about and see what extra benefits and deals there are to setting up your own bank account. The second thing I want to touch upon is phone plans. I mentioned before that you could potentially get a monthly phone plan, and this could be a great way to start learning to take responsibility of your finances and learning to budget for things. I would also suggest, however, being smart about the phone plans that we get. I think sometimes we get very caught up in like 12-month contracts or trying to get a free phone whilst taking a plan that like is maybe £40 a month and lasts 3 years. So I would definitely say look into SIM only plans. They tend to be a lot cheaper, even though you do have to buy the phone separately. It works out cheaper in the long run if you do the calculation. On top of that, there are so many competitive SIM-only plans. There's a new one called Smarty that I've heard about, and I think it's about £7 a month. You get 6 gigabytes of 4G data, unlimited text, unlimited calls. So definitely look about. But even with the SIM-only plan, feel free to look into pay-as-you-go. I think we neglect that so often. There was like a year when I was living in Sicily, but also in the UK for a bit, and I cancelled my contract in the UK and got a pay-as-you-go plan, and honestly it made me realise that I don't even use most of my minutes, my free text, or even the internet that I'm paying £10 a month for. Like £10 credit could last me up to 3 months using pay-as-you-go. So definitely don't write off the pay-as-you-go option and just see what plans would work for you. Let's talk about getting a part-time job. So I feel that there are so many different types of part-time jobs now. You don't have to go down the traditional route of working in a bakery on the weekend, or working in a clothes store, or working in retail, or stuff that I felt my parents did growing up, and even myself to a certain degree. My first job was in retail at the age of 13 or 14. But my point is anyway, be creative. Getting a part-time job can mean literally doing something from your bedroom. I think that the fact that we have access to the internet has really empowered us to monetize our skills in a way, and also to be inventive in the ways that we stream in revenue. So to give you some ideas for how you can get creative and make your own money on the internet, I'm going to link in the description bar below a video by a fellow YouTuber, Joe Franco, who has made this video recently, and it's very insightful for different ways that you can make money just from the comfort of sitting in your bedroom. I also quickly just wanted to share something that I did when I was like in year 10, 11/6th form, and that was selling stuff on eBay. I feel like the market has definitely changed now. I know there's stuff like Depop and all these other kind of cool quirky apps where you can sell things, but that was a great way that I made money. And I just asked most of my mum's friends, my friends, really anyone, relatives, if they had any old clothes that they didn't want. And what I'd do is I'd sort into two piles. If there were good quality clothes or like designer labels or more high-end labels, I would usually keep them for myself I'd keep them for my eBay shop and then sell them online. Whereas the other clothes that were in good quality but I just felt that wouldn't be sold or wouldn't be popular, I would donate them to the charity shop. So in a way it was like a kind of service in terms of helping them clear out their wardrobe, but also a great way for me to just make some extra cash on the side. The next tip I have for you guys is to learn to live below your means. And what does that mean? It essentially means making a few lifestyle changes that can help you add to your savings. So for example, if you get £5 a day, just to say, from your parents for lunch money, instead of using that £5 to buy a McDonald's meal, buy something from the canteen, buy a Tesco meal, or whatever you usually use it for, take the time out to actually plan what you're going to eat for the week, make packed lunches, and the money that you'll save from not spending it on a takeaway or something that's already, you know, bought or made, can be put towards your savings. And I know that's something that a lot of my friends who got lunch money growing up did. To give you another example, if you get money for travel, then instead of taking the bus or the tube or however you travel that you have to pay for, you could perhaps ask for like a birthday, Christmas, if you celebrate that, for a bike, and try and be a bit more practical. Maybe on the sunnier days, the days where the weather's good and it's permittable, cycle to a destination instead of spending money on transport, especially if you live somewhere in London where transport can get a little bit pricey. Similarly, if you're a bit older like me and you have a car or are thinking about getting a car, really think about whether you need it. Like, I had a car for about a year, and I'm glad I had that car for a year. It was good practice. I definitely needed to practice after passing my driving license, and also it was convenient for occasionally going shopping and stuff like that, but my lifestyle didn't require me to have a car. So really, when it came around to renewing my road tax, my insurance, my parking permit, all of those costs, I really took into consideration, was this, even though it was still within my means and I was able to still maintain myself and pay for the car myself, I was definitely not living below my means. And so the next year I made huge savings. I was able to travel a lot more and just save more generally, because I wasn't paying for all those things I mentioned that come with having a car. The final tip that I want to share is creating an emergency fund. And this might seem scary, thinking too far advanced into the future, or you might just be like, this is not for me. But I really believe that emergency funds are for everyone. I used to think growing up that emergency funds was something that adults do, or something that families do who have more responsibilities, who have to have more expenses essentially. But I've come to realize that having an emergency fund is actually, like, everyone should have it. It's always important to have extra cash, extra money saved aside for a rainy day. And a rainy day can mean anything from needing to pay for a dental treatment that, you know, you weren't expecting, like a root canal, I found out the other day, cost something like up to £2,000. It could also be, for example, in the case where you're moving out and you need to have 1 month's worth of rent or a safety deposit of some sort that you have to pay upfront to your landlord. On top of that, I just think it's overall really good to get into the habit of putting money aside, because as I said, you never know when you're going to need that extra cash, and I think it's just nice to have a kind of security net. I also implement this on a more micro level. So for example, with my Oyster card, which is the travel card that we use around London, in case you're unfamiliar, I always have an extra £5 as like my emergency fare in that Oyster card, just in case I find myself somewhere where I don't have my wallet, where I don't have money. At least I have something to get me from point A to B. So I think as well as doing it on a kind of macro, bigger scale of just saving for a rainy day, you can also do it for small things like that. Like have an extra £5 in your wallet in case you need to get lunch or you're hungry, or I don't know, something like that. It's just good to always have a bit of a surplus. And the final thing that I want to add, because I literally just remembered this, I forgot to jot it down, is before you buy anything, before you eat out anywhere, before you do anything, go online, Google search if there is a free voucher available of some sort, a free code, discount code, a free promotional code. That is literally my favorite thing to do. I found so many wicked deals in terms of eating out and also doing activities or buying things online just by taking an extra 5 minutes to find a promotional code. So definitely I would recommend doing that. On top of that, just very quickly, again, I just came to mind, there's an app which I will link below, just in case I get the name wrong, but it's something like Too Good To Go, and it's an app where you can, I think it's mainly food, but it might be other things as well. But if, for example, a hotel has overcatered, or they have extra food, instead of throwing that away, they'll sometimes give it out for free for a certain time. So yeah, when I was studying in central London for university, I would sometimes just go on the app and see if there was anything free being given away nearby or anything being sold at like a cheaper price. So definitely just be smart about how you use those codes and grab those freebies is all I can say. Okay, so I think that summarizes everything. I hope this video has been useful in giving you some tips on how to become more financially independent / save some money. And if you do have any tips of your own, of course, please feel free to share them in the comments below with myself and with our community. Also be sure to check out the description box below, where I'll have any links mentioned in this video as well as other useful links for you guys to check out. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Bye!